sometimes it is important to show the different solutions in a scenario. So in this case, we use Monterey. So if you are not familiar with Monterey, this is on the west coast of the US. It's a very nice place to go, but it has very interesting characteristics. It's a tourist place, but also is composed of rocky canyons that have mud and sand on the floor, which they offer a great habitat for rockfishes and contains fragile corals, sponges. So you can imagine that this is a very richness place that can serve, for example, as a buffet for whales, food for whales. So it's a very, very nice area. So we have these marine conservation areas in a nice location, right? So that's part of the scenario. Then we can also think of, well, we have NATO vessels in the area, and they are working with the Naval Postgraduate School to better integrate information when we are in emergency response. And this is, for example, when imagine a cargo freighter collides with an oil tank. So you can imagine this is a terrible accident. You have tripulantes on the vessels that can be affected, ships that are around, the habitat, which, as I said before, is a sanctuary, the fish industry, the folks that live in Monterey or are visiting Monterey. So when we have these situations, emergency responders get notified, and there is an analyst that is trying to get all data around the region, all the data that will help emergency responders make a plan to better provide a solution to the situation. So if you are not very familiar to OGC Web Services, there are two main services that we're going to discuss in this thread. The first one is the OGC Web Feature Service, WFS, that provides access to vector data, right? Points, polylines, polygons, etc. An OGC Web Map service that allows a client to get access to images. So this is what happens. The analyst needs this fresh imagery from the area, and also wants to get all the possible data that the US government can provide, and also, because we have these NATO allies in the area, data from other sources that can provide more information to the situation. And most of the times, the services are provided in a very basic way. Most of other times, like for example, in this case, governments or organizations provide some restrictions about how to provide the standards. So they provide a little more rules. For example, they say there is a maximum width and a maximum height of an image, or we should only provide certain types of formats for the image, or only support certain coordinate reference systems. So that's what happens when we create profiles. And in this activity, we tested various profiles and make them available to a client, and we wanted to experiment or to see how difficult it was for the client to be able to access those different profiles that were a little bit different from each other. So we have the DigiWeek WMS profile, we have the UK Mod WMS, the DigiWeek NSG WMS, the DigiWeek WFS, and a very simple digital nautical chart WFS. So this is a movie that shows the client interacting with those services. This client knows how to get WFS data, knows how to get WMS data, and you can see here interacting with the Envision WMS DMC, with the interactive instruments, web feature service, NDA DigiWeek profile, and this interacting with the national map, DigiWeek USGS. So as you see, it was very easy for the client to get access to all this data without very little effort.